Hey,
Hey,
yeah. Ugh. Still trying to set up my little studio right here.
come on up. Come on. Oh, you spoiled brat. Spoiled brat baby right here.
I know. I was talking to my family about getting one, and everybody was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, I need to get my own place." Um, it's probably going to be a fast one tonight too, because we had some technology issues all week, and none of our posts went out like they were supposed to.
Yay.
I know, fun stuff. Here comes everybody.
I've been getting invited to join D&D games left and right after not
Yeah.
playing for years. So,
Well, it's funny because I've been thinking about that because I remember you telling me that you play on Discord, and I was like, oh, that would be cool if we could set something like that up. Like, I know we got the book club, but it's like if we could set up something where people can come together and play games, that could probably help too. I don't know.
yeah.
I have like so many ideas. It's just not enough people or time to execute.
Yeah.
Like even when I delegate, like I delegated yesterday. What was it? I think 2 days ago, I told Samantha and Tehran like I gave them a whole list of things to do, thinking like, oh yeah, delegation, leadership, and then I'm like, oh, but I still got all this 2,000 other things I need to do.
Well, funny enough, my cousin who I introduced D&D to
hmm
was talking and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe we can get like everybody together and we can all play D&D together."
I've never played D&D. I think I played maybe was that D&D? I'm not even sure if that was D&D. I want to say it was. I think I played maybe once, and that was like in high school.
Yeah, I started playing in 2016 or 17.
hmm
I was in college and my one of my friends was playing it and I sat
Come
in
in.
on one of their sessions and then next session I was like, "Can I play, please?"
I open the door so you won't say I came right on in.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you too. That's funny to you, isn't
It
it?
is. It's my mom.
Aw.
I get on her and my sister because they'll knock, but then they'll just walk right in, and I'm like, if I was naked, that doesn't give me time to cover up. So I get on them about that, so that's why she did that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
when
say
I'm
you were
playing,
playing since 2016?
yeah. Um,
Do you play when you go to conventions?
conventions around here, as far as I know, don't really have stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, I'd love to play more, but I work a 9 to 5, so that makes timing an issue.
Yeah, I know those pesky 9 to 5s, man. That's why I'm hoping that this man brings me on full time because I'm like, oh my gosh, a full year contract. I
Yeah.
really get to just be on social media, not from it's not 9 to 5. It's he wants me to be almost like 24 hours within reason, but at least I get to manage it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I really hope he comes through. So let me check my phone. See who. Tashana won't be here. She's still away. She should be back next week. What did I do with my phone? Hey Siri, where are you? Not up here, obviously. What took you so long? You were waiting for me to talk bad about you? And I know Michelle's going to be out. Tehran should be here in a moment. Samantha, Mickey, how are you guys doing?
I could be better. I've got the tail end of a cold, so that's why I had myself
It's
muted.
Mickey's
I don't
fault.
want to. Don't blame Mickey.
Oh my gosh.
Now Mickey's dying. Way to go.
See, this is why I say don't blame Mickey. You're killing Mickey.
I am
Don't
not
kill
killing
Mickey.
Mickey. Mickey's boyfriend is killing Mickey.
There you go with the blame game again.
Because that's where it started from. It started with her boyfriend, and then she got it, and now you got it.
But we're not. I'm not even in the same state as Mickey. So how did
And
Mickey's germs travel?
we talk every week.
I can't afford
It's
to be
traveled by
sick.
microwaves. Yeah, that's right, Caitlin. It travels by microwaves.
I can't afford to be sick.
You sound like my mom, and I mean that in a nice way. She's like, as soon as she realized we're coughing, it's like, dude, get away from me. I love you. I'll make you soup, but get away from me.
Keep that
Oh,
to yourselves. All right. Well, I was just telling Caitlin before you two jumped on that apparently something's going on with the WordPress. So the post didn't go out. So we're going to post 2 times for each series this week. Everything looks like it's working now. So it's just one of those things that I guess I gotta make sure I stay on top of.
oh, is it the automatic thing or is it the actual site itself that's acting up?
It's the scheduling on the actual site itself.
Hmm.
Yeah. The automatic thing I stopped because I have to put in I have to find a new plugin that will allow the pictures that I want to be used instead of using random pictures like I did last week. So, but since this is the copycats team,
Oh shit, it is. We are all together in one place. I mean,
Oh
we
my
usually are
goodness.
during the meetings, but
so what I was going to actually kind of go over really quickly with everybody was I believe I have the how the magical system works for each series as a whole um completely done. But since everybody's not here, I won't do that. But we'll just focus on copycats for now. So, um, as you guys can see, I did some redesigning. So here's David in his brand new tiger armor.
mm.
Mark, we'll call this Mark II.
I like the eyes on the little hood. It's like it's so cute. It's like a sleepy little tiger.
Don't let him hear you say that. And then here's Michael.
Skin fierce, so the eyes are giving the same vibes.
Hmm.
They're just tiny.
And then we have Zuria.
Mm.
And just so I guess I should have done that. Hold on. Just so you can compare them. So, they look more polished, obviously.
Hmm.
So one of the things that I kind of didn't like about the original design, so I think they're all amazing. And like I said, when I put them in a Facebook group, they were like all the rage for that day. But I always was confused by why he gave them gray colors because that was never part of the scheme. And then some of them had jackets. Now I know why he did the jackets because some of the references that I sent to him, a lot of the characters were wearing jackets. But I just thought it was cool. But for the redesign, I wanted to make sure that they were all in armor going forward. So all right, so here we have Lanai.
What cats are Lanai and Ziria supposed to be?
So Lanai is a cheetah,
Uh-huh.
and Zuria is a leopard.
Leopard.
Okay.
So this
Good.
is me after I put it in Photoshop to get that because I do like the color scheme here. So I went in
Hmm.
Photoshop and made sure she still had that. And then Ashante, I was still trying to get the visors because I do think, especially since he's the nerd of the group and he wears glasses, I was like, I kind of like the visor look.
And his
So
eyes are
trying
permanently glued to his tablet, so
to,
he's at a point where
I
people
can
can
draw
just
'em.
steal his food.
I'll draw him with the visor. Don't worry about it.
yeah, I
Yes.
was like, you guys know there's only so much you can do with AI. Like, I'm impressed that it got the things for them. He's one of the few that has eyes. Now, I don't think they really need to have eyes, but yeah, like I was having a hard time getting the things on hers. So I was like, I guess that's just the part that we can draw ourselves. But yeah, I show my family, they're all for them. So yeah, so those are the Mark twos. And then I know in this really, really long mess, I swear to you guys, like when I'm typing, they don't seem like they're this long until I post them. And when I post them, I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't read all that either. Um, in this, I said that it's not going to be exactly like Full Metal Alchemist, the way our alchemy is going to work. But then I started watching Full Metal Alchemist the other day, because I was thinking about Shu Tucker, so I was watching that storyline, and I was like, oh wait, we probably could do it. We could probably do something similar to Full Metal Alchemist. So we'll probably incorporate some of it in our system, especially as far as like how mana. So mana is going to be the main source of energy for again, I'm not going to go deep into it. Essentially, we have our spiritual world, we have our physical world. The spiritual
And
world is made from a specific type of energy particles. Physical world has its own specific energy particles that makes up, the atoms and matter and all that kind of stuff. But they both come from mana. So mana is going to be like our magic energy. It's our spirit, like I don't know what you call it in Naruto. It will be like our chakra. And Bleach is our spiritual energy. And Soul Eater, it's the soul resonance thing and all that kind of stuff. So mana is kind of like it,
sorry, big
it's
Soul Eater fan.
our magical energy, huh?
I said big Soul Eater fan, so
Gotcha. So I go back and forth. Soul Eater is what actually helped me break up my favor of Athena chapter one. so that I'm introducing everybody in pairs. So yeah, fun fact. But yeah, so mana is our main energy source. Mana is, and not everybody can use it. So only specific spiritual beings can use it. Specific humans can use it, or objects, blah blah blah. Right? So just keep that in mind. Mana is our magical energy. Now, each series is going to focus on what we're going to call schools. So each school is a different way of using mana. So for copycats, that's going to be alchemy, right? And basically, all this is just saying is that they're going to have the ingredients, and I'm working on the recipes as we speak. And when they use that recipe, it's going to turn their armor into what we see. I think for the first part, like when they first make their Mark ones, when they make their Mark ones, I think the original designs should be what they should look like because it's the first time doing the recipes. You know what I mean? So I think that should be like how they should look for Mark One. I think Mark Two should be what they fix going into Act Three. So this should be like Act Two, right? And then this should be like Act Three when we're getting ready to really take down the boss character. All right. So yeah, so it's going to be like I said, it's going to be inspired by Full Metal Alchemist. More so, we're going to, and I have to do a little more research, but we're going to be dealing with kind of like the Philosopher's Stone angle and the Chimera angle of alchemy. So yeah, so that's basically just the magical system, and then magical power school powers. So powers are going to be spells, and there's going to be a specific list. Now that list might affect pack matters a little bit, or maybe a lot. So, but Samantha, you and I will work on that on the pack matters day once I put up everything.
Okie dokie.
Um, so yeah, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Magical energy, school, and spell. You know, that's how each series will work. The only difference is the school is going to dictate how that particular power is used. And then obviously everybody will have a different name. So like copycats, they're going to be prodigies, but they're going to be prodigies in alchemy. Um for pack manners, the mages, they're monsters. In favor of Athena, they're going to be psychics. So they will have like their own tribe name, I guess you can call it, classification system, which goes along with the school that they're in. So, but yeah, so that's I decided to work on that yesterday because I was just looking at them and I was like, all right, it's been like 2 years, and I really wanted to work on Lanai and Zuria because I was never like I really did like her color scheme. I just wasn't really a big fan of the overall design. It looks cute, don't get me wrong, but out of the five, I always thought hers was like the weakest to me. So but let's see. So Pinterest, I was sharing with Tehran. So on Pinterest, we are still averaging over 300,000 monthly views. So that's good. Um, we got to figure out how we're going to start turning those into subscribers or buyers. But as far as copycats, chapter 10 is up to 11 views. Chapter, I can't see what chapter it is. I'm not wearing my glasses. But whatever chapter this is had 20 views. So as you can see, each series it it varies on Pinterest. So I don't know if that's like a time of the day kind of thing. Because sometimes, like, I guess this will be a good example. Revolutionary right here had 14 views, right? Here it had 22. And then I think there was like a post for Revolutionary that was like two. Right? This is a copycats chapter. This one has 61 views. So Pinterest seems to be where we're definitely getting natural views and even engagements. It's been a while since I had an argument on here, so I guess they probably gave
All
up.
press is good press.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too. Welcome to the meeting, Teron and Erica. I didn't even see you guys come in.
Yeah, I just got back to the house.
Hmm. So I was just telling the Copycats team what how the magical system works for each series, and I was going through their particular posts. So, but
Mm.
um,
My
were you
damn.
guys here for that? Erica and Teron, were you guys able to hear all that?
No, I was not. I literally just came in just now. Uh, I would like to at some point go over magical systems with you, just because I don't feel like mine is uh, specifically for my book, and then just trying to go off of how you created the other ones at some point.
Oh, well, I'll tell you guys right now, and Caitlin's going to be proud of me. I use an RPG system.
I don't
Every,
know what that is.
I'm telling you guys now, everything I do most likely came from an RPG system. So for a lot of the rules that I have are from is from Marvel role playing games. And
Mm,
the reason why I'm doing that is A, it keeps everything cohesive,
okay.
and B, it still allows for each series to have like its own flavor. And by flavor, I mean like when you watch Bleach, what are you watching Bleach for? For the Soul
Yeah.
Reapers. You watch One Piece, what are you watching it for? The pirates. Right?
Mm,
So each series has its own school of magic, which is connected to magic. And what I was explaining to everybody was the magical energy for our universe is going to be called mana. But mana can be refined into two different states. There's going to be a spiritual state, and then there's going to be a physical state. Physical for humans, spiritual for our ghosts, our gods, our angels, right? But everything has mana in it, and those who can manipulate mana are mages. But mages will be called different things depending on the school that they're in. So for copycats, they're going to be alchemists. Um,
okay.
Favor of Athena, they're psychics. Pack Matters, they're monsters.
The
Yeah.
voodooists
This,
will not
this,
like that.
huh?
The voodooists will not like that. They're not monsters.
Oh well, you know. Well,
Uh,
well,
All
well,
depends on how you define the term monster.
well. No, the way we'll handle that, because that's a good point. The way we'll handle that, because I think I forget which one of you I was telling that to. I think it might have been Tehran. So Revolutionary, I kind of wrote Revolutionary as kind of the, I don't want to say end game, but it's kind of like the book that kind of connects all the other books. And so I do have a zombie in Revolutionary, which will be a monster, right? From Pack Matters. I have one. Um, some of the people who are being summoned to be servants are angels, right? Which is an angel protocol. So Revolutionary is kind of like, again, it's going to be the one book that kind of, the audience
The
isn't
one
going
book to rule them all.
right. The audience isn't going to know it. You guys aren't really going to know it until I really until I publish it and I say, "Hey guys, this is how everything is connected." Um but yeah, so Revolutionary, good way to put it, Caitlin, is the book is going to be the one book to rule them all
Excellent.
and will connect everything together. So so that way we can start having the little crossovers and stuff like that. So but yeah, so real simple, magical energy, those who can manipulate it or learn to manipulate it are called mages. Each mage belongs to a specific school, and then all powers work the same. They just are manifested by the school that you're part of. So somebody who I'm trying to think of a one of the simpler systems. So in Angel Protocol, the the school of magic for that is going to be a single word, right? And I got to come up with names, but they just have to say a single word to use their power. Now, the stronger they say that word, the stronger the magic, right? So if they whisper it and they got fire control, then they can only manipulate a little bit. But if they're like flame, then they can control more. Sorry if I yell at anybody's ear, but but fire control will still be the ability to manipulate, not generate fire and heat. That will still work the same way if somebody from Copycats has that power, right? Except they have to create that specific substance to make that spell. So all powers will work the same. It's the mechanism that makes the manifestation different. If you guys would like to read a little bit, it's not our official one. You can type in X-Men Owl. And if you go to archives and you go down to database of powers, and click on magic powers, this is pretty much what I'm explaining to you guys right now. So this tells you like you can only use magic if you have magic power. For us, that's mana, right? These are the different what I'm calling schools. And for this system it's called mechanisms. But this is going to be the different schools. So I will be coming up with names for each school. Except for alchemy. Alchemy is just going to be alchemy. um yeah, so even the way that we are going to have the heroes and villains um create or learn is basically coming straight from this. And then these are the different powers that you can have. I'm not using any of these except for this one. And this is the power that basically says that levitation or like the common superpowers that we know are what comes in this particular spell. So that's again, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to do anything that was super complicated.
Primitive.
Um, just about any power can fit.
Primitive.
And I'll show you guys the list of powers. So the list of powers that we will be using and sticking with, at least for the first two, three volumes, is coming from the original Marvel role-playing game. And so this is going to be our power list, and it's even separated by category. So this is what we will be using. Again, I will be taking this and making a whole document for the Be Terrific Media universe. But if it's not in here, like I said, I'm pretty sure if we can fit it into one of these powers. So like in Revolutionary, um, for those of you that are caught up with it, one of our characters basically has fusion dance as their power, right? That's not a power that is in this system. However, if we take the definition of the power from, excuse me, from the source that I got it from and really look at the definition, it actually fits the alter ego power in this book. So that's why I'm saying, like, even if you have created a character for the series and you're like, oh, that power, that's why I say I think it's probably going to be more so Pack Matters. We can probably still fit it in here. And if we can't fit it in there, then we'll just add it on if need be. But but yeah, so again, it's just you know, not trying to reinvent the wheel. We use what has been done before, and we'll just use that to shape. Okay, to shape on our universe and make sure that everything's kind of like aligned neatly. And then after that third volume, then we can kind of like go into let's try this as a power and let's try that. So, any questions? Like I said, I'm gonna take all that. I'm gonna make, a nice simple document. And I was also thinking that while I'm doing that, that could probably be the basis of us starting our own role-playing game. So, because, if I'm gonna do all this, might as well adapt it into a game, right? Um, so yeah, so again, so that's one of the reasons. That's another reason why I also decided that it might be time to do some redesigns. Because if we do, once I get the documents together, and like I said, it will be a simple matter of turning them into rules. Then we can do our own role playing game. I just got to figure out, like, what role playing game system we'll be using. Oh, I got so nervous. I was like, what is that? Um, but yeah, so that's going to be the magical system. Again, it's nothing crazy. Let me go back to the schools real quick. Uh, where are you?
Okay, I was mostly asking because I created mine from scratch because I had some concepts in mind.
Mhm.
Uh, so unfortunately, that method will not necessarily work for me.
Well,
It
no,
just
that's
means I
fine.
have to
We can
revamp.
still work on yours. Like the one thing I've learned is that if you're creating from scratch and it's not working, but you still like it, right? It's just a matter of trying to find something that does work that is similar that you can use to kind of smooth yours out. You know what I mean?
It it
So,
worked. It just means that I have to do things a little differently or word things because it all works together. It's just more along the lines of I feel like I didn't explain it well enough.
Oh, okay.
as
Yes.
far as the reader.
The thing that I try to do when I'm explaining is I try to think of it I actually kind of think of it in terms of RPG games, but I do try to come up with terms that will be what's the word I'm looking for? That will be able to translate to somebody in a way that they can understand. And my Caitlin, you're about to be Caitlin's gonna be like, yes. I think one of the best series that does that. Like again, I know we're all anime fans, and we learn the magical systems of just about every series we watch. But I think the series that did the best job in the first three episodes of explaining how the magical system works is Soul Eater. Now, if you
Yeah.
haven't seen Soul Eater, they basically explain the magical system, the main magic that they use. They explain it in about 2 minutes. And they use two characters, and Lord Death is explaining, and Lord Death is like, all right, so the Meister generates, we'll use our terms, generates the mana. It goes to the demon weapon, which is their partner. And the demon weapon, which is Soul, he's on top of guitar amp. So Monk is playing the guitar. She's sending mana to Soul, and Soul is amplifying the mana that she is sending him, and then he sends it back. And so not only do they explain it, but the visual representation of it always stuck in my head. Because usually when people are explaining, they're just explaining. So you really, you're sitting there, you're listening and you're watching, but you're still head like, all right, I need to see it in action. Whereas with Soul Eater, they're like, this is how it works. And this is how it's always going to work.
Yeah, it's both a verbal explanation as well as a visual explanation. It's
Right.
done very well.
So I always like, again, once I saw that and really thought about it, I was like, that's how I want to be able to explain everything. Now, will that work all the time? Probably not. But yeah, so I would start there. Like try to break it up as far as your explanation. Try to break it up into chunks that people might understand. For Revolutionary, the way the magical system works in there, as far as them summoning spirits and stuff, is the water cycle.
Okay.
I use the water cycle to explain like this is what the master does, and this is where the servant can do because the master, the energy is being evaporated because it's being used by the servant. And so I
Okay.
try to use terms like that. So that way everybody knows the water cycle, right? So people
Yeah.
immediately get it. Like they go back to whatever grade that they learned it. And then they're like, "Oh, I got it." So that's where I would start. As far as helping you explain it better. Try to think of like layman's terms. Now, again, that's what works for me. So I'm just, saying try that. But I think that's where you always gotta kind of start. You always gotta think like, yeah, it's going to be complicated because we're not in your head.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you explain it so that
Excuse me.
um, a third grader can go around telling people this is how it works in Tehran's book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can't get a third, I forgot where I heard that from. You can't get a third grader to understand what you're talking about, then it's too complex.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too somewhere. I can't remember where I heard it.
Now I
I'm
don't feel so
flipping
bad
over.
about the first magic system that I made. It's like really super simple. Like you have intent, then you have the gesture, word, whatever to initiate it, and the cost. 99% of the time, you're going to be using mana. However, there are times when other things can be used. Something that my MC accidentally did, and she doesn't realize it. But
Hmm.
that's like extremely rare and extremely dangerous. Like I do plan to explain it a bit more. It's just like I know it sounds like super basic, but that was like the best I could do at the time.
Right. And then sometimes you'll also will see like you'll go to explain it and then you're going to go, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like you might think everything makes sense now, right? But when you start explaining it to people, you're gonna go, oh, no. That doesn't work. Like I'm gonna make you guys laugh. Favor of Athena. I was going back because of the magical system now, right? I went back and I was like, they can't be familiars because we're using familiars in sword dancers. So I was like, oh, they're gonna be repetitive, and we're not at that stage where we can repeat. And then it made me remember that Favor of Athena was never supposed to be about familiars in the first place. So now, I have to go back, and I was going to have it be jesters from this list, which will be kind of like for those of you that have seen Fairy Tail, jesters is basically how they use their magic. Is the main way that they use their magic. But I was thinking about Pack Manners, and I was like, nah, jesters needs to go ahead and be Pack Manners since they actually transform into monsters, right? So that didn't leave me with a lot of choices. So I actually have to go with Chant for Favor of Athena, which I think still will work. I don't think it's going to change everything because they were supposed to be calling out their attacks in a way. But but yeah, you're gonna find out
Okay.
as you go through your magical system and as you try to explain it to people, you're going to realize like, oh no, that really doesn't make sense, or that can probably be worded better to help them understand. So I was trying to find soul resonance because, like I said, I feel like of all the animes I've seen, that this is the best example of explaining it visually.
Yeah, I was just trying to find it too, and I'm struggling.
So, but again, that's what this meeting was really going to be about for everybody. Like I said, I probably will have that finalized realistically by Friday.
And you? There we go. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, no,
My
you're fine.
I'm using my computer and my son messed with my soundboard. There we go.
Yeah, that's crazy. I tell you, now when I get off, it's going to pop right up. So there's going to be like that one video. No residents explain. See, the problem is everybody wants to make their own videos. The hidden death bleach.
There we go. That.
I wonder if this.
So, what's the most unique power system you've seen? Is it alchemy from Full Metal Alchemist? Or maybe it's the branches of sin from Dead Man Wonderland? Hell,
The Princess of Sin from Dead Man in Wonderland was crazy for those of you that.
True.
They
I
need
still
to
think that's one
change
of the
that
most
in.
unique systems I've seen. I actually was using that for Pack Matters for a little while, where their blood would cover them, and it would be kind of like venom. So like or I guess I should say carnage. Their blood would cover them, and they assume the form of their monster. So everybody looks like a red version of the monster they're supposed to be. So I was gonna have them be called devils. And then I was like, nah. It was hard to explain it, so I got rid of it. Um,
I just sent mine to you in Discord.
okay.
Uh, Also, I confirmed because I wasn't sure, making sure that Webs is sticking with us as Be Terrific Media and let them know I was taking point.
Yeah. Not that for the record, not that I wasn't taking point, everybody, because I even reached out because I was like, guys, I'm getting ready to pay for an artist, but I need the character designs.
So I had him send me who the current artist he's using is, so I can contact that person myself.
Oh,
And
so I didn't even know he had an artist.
yeah, if you check his TikTok, uh, he's got 4 out of the 5 character designs done.
Oh, okay. I thought he was using Midjourney for them
He might, I don't know.
because I could have sworn in one of the TikToks he made, he was like, because we were both talking about the limitations. Caitlin, I am getting really upset that this video is not.
I know.
Got it. Oh, I swear we looked at this person before on. What the
Who
fuck?
send it in the chat.
Yeah, I got you.
But if there's no questions about, because again that was going to be the bulk of the meeting was the magical system. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, then that will be the meeting because I don't have any stats to give you guys because again technical issues. Um, so any questions about the magical system, how it affects your series that you're working on? Like I said, Samantha, I know power wise, I know it probably will affect Pack Matters, but like I said, I'm pretty sure we can figure out how to fit it into the power list that we will have. So
Yeah, I don't think gesture actually works with like the majority of the characters that are already there just because they're not really they're not like clapping their hands and all of a sudden they transform. It's usually like, oh, something's trying to kill me. I better change before, that
yeah,
happens.
so
But I go ahead.
so the beauty of gestures is that it's really, really general. It can be facial expressions. It can be. It doesn't have to be like. It's not Full Metal Alchemist and fairy tale and all that kind of stuff. It could literally be blinking the eyes and wanting to change.
So at that point, is it less gestures and more intent? Like
It
mental.
will be that. That's how like the way I take this definition is how I would take it. I would say it's more about intent and that the gesture is kind of like how you focus. So like in Dan the
Like,
Dan, right?
yeah,
She envisions actually grabbing something, right?
yeah.
So that's how I kind of took this definition and that's kind of like the way you just explained it is exactly how I would roll with it. So it's just, see, it says right here, it's a specific physical action to bring about the power. The nature and complexity varies, and we're probably not going to deal with all that. So you see here, they're like, it can be the hand and arm movements like Doctor Strange. It could be facial expression, acrobatics, dance steps. It's very to me that's just is really really general. So that's again that's why I decided to go with that for Pack Manners. At first, I was going to do necromancy because I was thinking maybe all the monsters need blood, but I I haven't caught up to everything you're doing in book two, and I know in book one that's definitely not established. And one of the
Yeah.
things I didn't want to do is go back to book one and have to do a major rewrite. So I just thought Jesters for Pack Matters will help cover anything that we have done in book one and book two without anybody going, "Hey, that doesn't fit." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now the question is, guys, because just about all the series are tied to one of these. The one that is left is necromancy. And to be honest, I think I might have the right series for it. And I think I'm going to use Web of a Nazi for it and just have them be eating like animal spirits, and that's how everybody uses their particular power. So, but yeah, so I haven't finalized it, but yeah, this is the one that's kind of making me go, oh, I don't know how we're gonna pull that off, and the heroes still be heroes. It's definitely got to be an anti-hero series. Uh,
Okay.
Power system. But yeah, if you don't have any questions about your particular series and how this will affect it, and like I said, I don't really think any series is going to be major impacted. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to use the schools to match what that series already is. That's why. So like for copycats, it was either alchemy or it was going to be talisman because a talisman is just an object, and maybe they create the objects. Um, so I was trying to keep the schools in line with what your series already is. Sword dancers, they get their powers from the alien beings. So the alien beings are technically the mages. So that's a familiar. So that's that series. Revolutionaries using the summoning. So like I said, I was trying to make sure the school doesn't cause for rewrites, like major rewrites and stuff like that. And that's why I always tell you guys, like power wise, let's keep it simple. Let's not do anything too complex yet. So, but if you don't have any questions about your specific series, you are free to go. I will talk to you during the week because I am almost caught up to everybody's chapter. I started leaving comments this past week. So, yes, Mickey?
Hey, sausage.
Oh. We might have some voice actor members return to the team. One of my friends, Joe, was asking if Favor of Athena was canceled, and I was like, no, we just haven't had enough voice actors to do it. So he's probably coming back, and my friend Devin and his wife might be joining us just in a voice acting capacity. So if the three of them do come back, we will have to discuss when, for those of you who are still interested in voice acting, we will have to figure out a time where we can all kind of like gather and do them. They're never long. Tehran can tell you. I think the only time that it was ever long was when we did the whole issue when we were table reading the comic book issue one. I tend to try to break it up into scenes so that way by the time we do the whole book, and obviously we won't be doing the whole book for the light novels. We'll probably be doing chapter by chapter. Um, yeah, we just need a book time. We try to keep it under an hour unless the what did we call it after we were done, Tehran? Um,
Be Terrific presents.
Yeah, that was the name of the podcast. But I mean, like after we were done recording, doing the voice acting, we always did like an after action
Oh yeah, we would
review.
we would talk to each other about what we could have done better. Uh, like whether we did a good job with the voice, what we brought into it, things like that.
Yeah.
So
So,
like a after recording critique kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, like we'll discuss because for some of them it will be like their first time reading what I wrote or seeing what I wrote because again we were doing a comic book, so it was always after the comic book art came. So, we'll just talk about the scene, how we felt about the characters, like Deron said, we'll, do critiques about what we could do better, critique the script, like, oh no, I don't think that character would act that way. Um, yes, that part tends to run a little long because we kind of just get caught up. But the actual recording, I would say if we do it the way we did it before, well, we're doing chapters, so they're going to be a little longer. Um, I would say we probably spent no more than 10 minutes actually doing the actual recording, and then probably like 30, 40 minutes was like the critique session.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so if you are still interested in that, let me know. Again, I don't know when we'll launch that. It might have to be, Thursdays because Thursday seems to be like a really good day for a lot of you. Um, yeah, so just keep that in mind that we're getting to the point where I think we just need in my head two more males. That's why I said if they do come back, we're definitely going to start it back up. Unless you guys all know somebody who would like to start their voice acting career. In which case we can, look at that too. But again, if you don't have any questions about the magical system and how it's going to affect your series, you are free to go. I will talk to you guys during the week. Tehran and Samantha, stay on.
Have a good night, guys.
Good
Good
night.
Good night.
night. And then there was three.
Wait, is it really three?
Yes, it's really three. Mickey
Discord,
left.
Discord, Discord be trying to Discord be trying to make me catch a case or something.
Trying
So,
to do like they just
Tehran,
did.
tell Samantha what happened.
Oh, so he was in the Discord Artist Alley call for like 2 days.
Oh, is that what that text was for?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, wait, why are we talking about Artist Alley? I had to like double check because I've got like some of the chat rooms like labeled. I'm like, wait, this isn't Artist Alley, so it can't be talking to me. I'm just gonna say nothing, pretend I don't see it.
No, I just saw that he had just sent a message, so I was like, "Oh, he's looking at it. I'll send a message." Oh
So
man.
so it's crazy because I was like, so when Tehran called me, and I was like, all right, that's Discord. And then I'm looking around because I'm like, it didn't sound like it was coming from my computer. So I'm looking for my phone because I'm like, oh, the phone. But it was my computer. And then he's like, yeah, you've been an artist. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, man, it's a good thing I don't talk bad about anybody. Jeez. And it just made me think of the time when I was talking to you, Samantha, and then Mickey came in, but I didn't hear her or see her come in.
Oh God, that was great. Like your reaction as soon as you started talking, I'm like,
Says you're recording the Twitch right now though.
ah!
Yeah. Yep.
Uh but yeah, so I sent you my power system and then
Yeah. Let's look.
the artist, I swear we've looked at him before when we were going over artists. I sent you the profile. He doesn't have bad prices either. Like per page, 100 is a little steep for black and whites, but it's 6 panels. Like it's not bad.
I will create comic book art. So this one?
Yeah, so he's using the original character design job that he has posted, but I was looking at possibly just keeping his artist on for us for his series to keep everything consistent.
Okay.
But the prices weren't terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't great. They just weren't terrible because he is very detailed. The only thing I have an issue with is I'm gonna be honest. I can't tell if he's actually doing this or if he's AI assisted. I don't know because it's very painted, but I can't be like, oh yeah, he's using AI.
Yeah, see that, and see, I feel like,
I mean, I don't care either way, but
well, I mean, I care because we don't,
if we're paying for it,
depending on how he's using AI, like if he's putting in like a specific artist name, I'm not trying
mhm,
to have that fight.
exactly. If you go back to the other job, the one that says I'll create, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. I will draw your original character design. The Wonder Guard is in there for his portfolio of that job. Yeah, that's one of them.
Hmm. I don't know. I my brain
It's
is
almost too
telling
good.
me AI. My brain is telling me that's AI right there.
That's one of them too.
Because they all have like a very similar
Pose and everything. But he
pose.
could have just been working off the same model.
What's up with her arm?
Too.
See, uh-oh.
This one. See how the one in the back looks kind of, I don't know, like not in the same proportions. Maybe that's just because the one on the right has that gauntlet thing on there.
Yes, so that's on
So
Yeah,
that's on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah, I would say that's a gauntlet issue.
Yeah.
But
It's
the
yeah.
fingers don't look like they're bending the right way. I gotta zoom in.
yeah.
Yeah.
There,
Uh,
there's Oh, I can't zoom in on that particular one.
I can no you can see the sketch marks and stuff though,
I think there's six
specifically on this one.
fingers. Unless
One,
unless I'm reading that wrong. It looks like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven.
I see five.
You see
One,
five? Okay.
one,
Like I said, I could be misreading this one.
yeah.
I
No,
I think I see five as well, but honestly, it's really hard to tell. I don't like look at pictures expecting to see AI, and maybe that's on me. Maybe I should like practice looking at that because I went to a panel at a convention once, and they're like, "Oh, sometimes these wonky images you see, that's not AI. That's just an artist's choice."
yeah, sometimes it's a
It could
mistake.
it very well could be.
It's he has a large
Okay, no,
variety.
you guys are right. It's five.
He has a large variety of work, and so I don't.
Unless this is, I don't know. This is a hard call on this
I
one.
mean, he might be just that good. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah. Do they have a? See if they got a website or something.
it is Indonesia working
I
with.
kind of trust. I know this is gonna sound bad. I kind of trust the artists in Indonesia. I haven't had any bad experiences.
I'm gonna look at more of his
Yeah,
reviews.
I don't know though. Like, because we use AI a lot, for our concepts.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like this again. This could very well be done. I'm not saying, but I don't know. It's just coming off.
Oh, okay. Please inform the freelancer of any preferences or concerns regarding the use of AI tools in the completion and or delivery of your order. So I'm assuming that
that
he
he is.
he possibly uses some AI, but at the very least, that little message there, if you scroll down, is, you know,
Yeah, I think maybe he uses them as a basis,
yeah,
and maybe
which
he
isn't
goes
bad.
in. Yeah, it depends on how much of a change he does. So like
Mhm.
when I did Zuria, for example, right? Like this was AI, right? But this is me fixing the coloring.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So if it's something like that, that's not too bad. Like if he's using it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, these poses are literally the same. Except for her. Her head is slightly tilted up more than everybody
Hmm.
else's. But the males are all the same. They just have different hair.
Yeah.
And he has different his eyes are different from the other two males.
Hmm.
But these two are the only difference between these two is the size and hairstyle. But
Yeah.
everything else,
Like I said, I think he may have used the same, just like,
model.
yeah, the same model, like pose model.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the image prompt.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But I mean, it's not, you just do your due diligence,
Yeah.
and then make sure you explain that to Webs so that, because Webs is new to it all.
Yeah. If we do have to change artists, those are great references to work off of.
Hmm.
But I
Oh, for
like to try
sure.
to keep it consistent. But I will send the artist a message tomorrow, I think. I'd like to find some other social media, but this is the only thing I can really find more about me.
See that makes me see that would, and I told Webs that too. Like when me and him went on Fiverr looking for artists, that will make me concerned that they don't have a web presence.
Okay, so he has a BA in design. Let me, maybe I need to look a little harder at Copero. Oh, okay. I found his Instagram.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Because yeah, we want to make sure. Let me go through your magic, technology, and nature. Is this the name of the world? I just want to double check. I know it
No,
says.
that is what, to my world, what your mana would be. So that it's the overall, everything, every living thing has Ethereum in that world.
Okay.
It's one of the things that they have. It can go into different things. It can be harnessed. It can be seen by his visual prowess, as you can see, Ether Sight.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there, yeah, it's like, because the whole point is the world is out of balance, and
Avatar.
the world is out of balance, and it's his job, him and his brother, to fix it. But there's a lot of unknowns. and he doesn't know his connection to what's going on in this world that he's never known.
Right.
But turns out his parents are from this world. They were the deities keeping the balance. But in order to be together, they left. Yeah, go ahead. In order to be together, they left. And they only planned on having one son and ended up with two, which caused even further, like their actions on Earth caused problems in the other world as well.
Okay.
So
So are they twins, or is it just one was a planned pregnancy and the other was a surprise?
one was planned, one was a surprise because they thought that,
People just don't believe in condoms, man.
hey, look,
Hey, sometimes those don't work. You know, sometimes they just don't work.
Yeah, that's true.
they work better when you wear them.
Well, see, you didn't say that before. You just said it was a surprise. It's like, well, yeah, if you do it that, you're kind of asking for it.
Well, they went to this world with no concept of societal norms as of yet. And you don't know a lot about of the parents even yet. Like they're in the beginning of the story.
Did you use ChatGPT to help you write this?
Yes.
Okay. Cause right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're protagonist. I was like, oh, we're playing a game?
He is the protagonist.
No, I know he is the protagonist. I'm just saying the way it's written
Yeah.
sounds like I'm getting ready to play a game and not, read what the
Yes. So he
um
has a special affinity for
so
being
so
able.
far so far I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Especially once she told me like so essentially there's three again and that's why it's good to have everything outlined. So I get that there's three sources. So that
Yes.
makes sense to me. I understand basically we're basically talking Full Metal Alchemist, Ferngully, and I would say Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, Full Metal Alchemist, Ferngully is how to me
Yeah.
how I'm absorbing it. Obviously everybody else will probably think of different ways. I don't think this is confusing at all.
Okay.
Um, I like the visual aesthetics. I like that. I like that ether, which goes with ether here, tech, which goes here, Sylvan, which goes here. I like that they're all color coded and have a shape that makes sense. Leaf and green, obviously nature. I like that.
There is a dark side to
I'm
this.
sure there is.
I called it Isuba. It's further down.
Okay.
He also will gain that ability as well. But those powers are more unstable and cause his mental state to deteriorate a little bit in those moments. To friend or foe does not matter.
So that's like the red lightsaber crystals.
Yeah,
Huh?
kind of.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
Are the
the
limitations all right? So I think this is the first part where I might be a little a little confused. Are the
Okay.
limitations for? Oh, you know what? Never mind. Nature's history. Okay, so what I would do. Well, first, let me make sure I am reading it right.
Okay.
So this is the nature's limitation,
Yeah. So
and
in
this is
order,
the alchemy limitation, and this is the tech. I mean, not the tech. This is the ether limitation.
no, that is the limitation of the different types of visual prowess that he has is sensory overload. Because when he first starts
Oh,
using it, he's taking in more information than he's ever taken in before. So it's hard for his body and his brain to handle.
so all right. So I guess my question would be: Is this whole document about? Okay, obviously not. Is this first part just about him in general,
Uh,
or are we really talking everybody?
so it mainly has to do with him. The limitations for uh, draining the draining and nature's price that has to do with everybody, um because when the people that he first meets are they either use raw strength boosted by Ethereum, or they're like mages, who use Ethereum to use spells and things like that. And then the other is those who are the elves that he meets. They're more in tune with nature, so they have a stronger sylvan essence.
Gotcha. All right. So, hmm. I think what if this is supposed to be like your document about the world, then I think when you talk limitations, I think you need to separate these
For just him.
from just him. Yes,
Okay.
because if I'm reading this to understand your world, then like I said, I got confused because I'm thinking you have it set up just like you have these two set up.
Mm. Well, the site is also specific to him
Oh,
and eventually his kids
yeah,
and his brother.
yeah. So this should be in his section. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because I'm thinking again. I'm taking this like, all right. There's three sources, which means I'm either born with one of these threes or I'm learning one of these three, which
Yeah.
means these is how I was,
See the
this is how
world.
I see the world, and these will be like what my limitations are, is how I was taking it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so if it's specifically him, that should be in his own. Wow, you did a lot.
I was trying to be
um,
thorough.
yeah, I would include that in his own. Oh, look at that! See, you got your own little power set. Yeah, see, look.
I added when I started book two, I wanted to add things that they would learn that Ethereum can be expanded. So eventually they get water based Ethereum, uh I want to say upgrades, I should say,
Mhm.
because they travel to this underwater like Atlantis. And so a different power set is needed.
Ah, all right. Yeah, I think.
It was bound to be extensive because I was like, I don't want to just write a series. I want to create, I want to
You
pull a
want to create
George
a world.
Lucas. I want to create an entire world. with all
Yeah.
kinds of possibilities.
Now, is the name going to be called Trifecta?
No, that was just what
That,
what Chat GPT put in there. Um, uh, that's one thing I feel that I lacked on when writing
hmm
was I was focused on what the characters are doing, not necessarily the information being given in the moment of what they're doing. So
Yeah. Um.
now I did, so I kind of set it up like a bit of an isekai with like the you get the video game screen when you go into this new world and you can kind of like see your abilities. When he's registering with the guild, that first part, the trifecta part, he sees that on the screen after they assess his abilities. It's like he can see what he can do, what his current limitations are, all of that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So explaining this to everybody else, like in your writing, again, I feel like it just really comes down to you. You have to figure out like a simple way to do the explaining. Now, I think for you and from what I'm reading and glancing over, because it's a lot.
I'm sorry.
No, no, don't be sorry. A lot, that could be good. It could be bad. Um, I so I probably would start with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would start with him, and I think for you, you will have to like. I think normally you start big picture wise, and then you do details. I think you probably need to work backwards. So only because you have so much stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you probably need to start with individuals and then work your way up. So you start with individuals, like two or three, or one from each system, however you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make another character in that same system so that we can see like how they are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how they are, similar because they're in the same system, and how that
Oh,
system
I
differs
forgot
from.
about one character that
Okay,
I put in there. His niece that he doesn't know is his niece because she's also gonna
there's
get
a lot of people that
some
don't know a lot of
visual
stuff here.
process. I wanted to create some mystery
No,
because
no,
even his brother doesn't know that she exists. She was an orphan, so
Ooh,
she does not realize that her father is their big bad at the
mhm.
moment because his brother is going to be the main antagonist for about 2.5 books. And then they're going to make up that whole uh, unlikely partner scenario, like a reunion, but also we have to get over whatever we're feeling right now because too damn bad. We got to fight whatever's in front of us.
Right. Yeah, I think like I said, I think with what you're trying to do, like I said, I think you need to think of it. I'm trying to think on TV tropes. There's a
Mm-hmm.
trope called um cast herds. Have you
Mm-hmm.
guys have you guys ever heard of it?
No.
Nuh-uh.
All right. So cast herds, believe it or not, you see it a lot. I think, I haven't watched a whole season of Naruto yet, but I would imagine that Naruto probably uses this particular trope just from the aesthetic that I see about the show from the first season. I would say Bleach kind of does it. It's basically an easy way to create a whole bunch of characters, but also you're creating a whole bunch of characters that are essentially like a race or a team, but they're fundamentally different from this other group. So like I'm trying to think what would be a good Avatar: The Last Airbender will be so. I wouldn't say Avatar: Last Airbender does this, but I'm going to use them as an example. So I'm trying to create this world, right? And I got all this complex stuff. I got I got what the Water Tribe can do. I got what the Fire Kingdom can do. I got what the Earth Kingdom can do. Fire Nation. I'm sorry. And I got what the air nomads can do, right? I got all this lore for the air nomads, and I got all this lore for each culture, right? But it's a lot. So how am I going to explain it? By actually creating the characters. So I might create a Batman character. So let's say I create Batman and I put him in the Fire Nation, right? Oh, all right. Let me just use the whole Justice League. So now there's a Superman character. I got my Batman character, Wonder Woman, so on. But they're Fire Nation. That's how they particularly use their fire spells.
Mm.
To quickly do the other nations, I would just copy paste. So now there's a Superman character in the Water Tribe. But because they're Water Tribe, he's probably going to use his powers different from the Superman from the Fire Nation. It's just a quick way to kind of like build characters who follow the same archetype but are in the same class.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the idea behind it is again, you create more characters who are essentially Ken and Ryu of each other.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're different because the culture will be different. The way they manifest their powers. I will look into that to help you kind of like build because again, your system is large.
extensive.
So in order for us to really understand it and really work it out so that you can explain it, you're probably going to need characters and you're probably going to need a lot of characters. But you also want to make sure that that you yourself can recall what the characters are. So that's kind of like what a cast herd is. Oh, see, look, Modern Family is like another example.
Okay.
So so that way you can explain, especially since it all boils down to you have three sources, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's oh yeah, see, I explained it all. This is basically what it just means. A large class split into groups, and you want to have a group that represents the nature energy source. You want a group that represents that source. So I would start there.
That that's gonna be a little difficult because they're still gonna be large groups because certain species that inhabit this world are going to be have affinities for things like the Sylvan essence. So like beast folk, elves, things people that you would find normally classify as forest dwellers would have that affinity. They're not
Mhm.
necessarily born with it. They still have to learn, but due to their culture, they have that affinity. Where dwarves, they're forge masters. So Alchem Tech, because it didn't put the A for whatever reason in the file. Alchematech, which is the act of like a blacksmith hammering magic into a piece of technology or a tool or something like that. Being able to make it to where the magic almost works the same way that a circuit board does. That's something that they do. And he's learning, the main character is learning all of this because he ends up meeting this diverse group of, like, within the guild, like his party is diverse. The party leader and the guild master is a half giant. So he's huge. That would be your Hulk slash Superman type character. He's just a powerhouse. Thank you. And then, like, he learned there's actually two different types of elves. One that ran out of the forest, that was more acclimated towards being mages versus being using Sylvan Essence. So it's just, yeah. Also, dude is legit. I'm looking at his Instagram. I don't think he's using AI for a lot.
Okay.
I just sent it to you too.
Okay. Yeah. So even with everything you just said, though, again, the whole point of this story is that he's going to be essentially experiencing different groups and coming across. So you still would want to probably start there. And then the trope that I'm actually talking about, I was just on it. Is this. This is what I was talking about. So you want to create counterparts for each group. So kind of like whenever there's a super team and the team that's considered the protagonist, there's always, one girl, right? All the other teams that they come across and fight always have what? One girl. So you want to, like I said, probably want to start there. That way you can kind of like explore, like, even unique traits, like the guy who's the half giant, right? You still want to he still has to belong to a group, even in the cases of maybe somebody for whatever reason is able to manipulate two. They're probably being raised by one person in particular, right? Or even if they're being raised by parents that maybe one's ether and the other one is nature, and the child has both for whatever reason. I don't know if that's something that happens in your universe, but even if they were, they probably still lean more towards one or the other. You know what I mean? So you still will want to work on the three major. Are you on two?
That was just what I was about to say. There are two wrongs.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're holding.
No worries.
Let me leave it out of this one. There we go. Okay. All
But
right.
yeah, I think because your story is going to be very, very because I feel like that's one of the things that I've noticed about series that are really good with world building is that the cast of characters is vast because you're trying to show that vastness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you kind of want people to not just pick out their favorites, but find there's all kinds of people to relate to. Like
Right.
somebody's going to relate to the struggles or the similarities of one of these characters
Right.
because there's so many.
And like I said, and just because you're copying and pasting doesn't mean you're copying and pasting the the traumas and all that kind of stuff. Like, yes, there still should be similarities. Like if we, if we copy Catwoman into Fire Nation and then copy paste Catwoman into the Water Tribe, yeah, maybe they both have that. Oh, I grew up poor, so that's why I decided to turn to crime. But they might have different philosophies on it. Maybe the Catwoman from the Water Tribe is more of Robin Hood. I only rob from the rich so that I can help the poor. And maybe the one from the Fire Tribe is I steal at all costs because it's all about survival. You know what I mean? So even if they're copy and paste characters, you can still add that little nuance to them. Again, it's you see it all the time. It's just, uh,
Yeah.
there just isn't a name for it. Like again, Bleach does that. Like all the captains are obviously captains, right? But they all have their own power. They all had their own histories, but they all also have their lieutenants. You know what I mean? So I would start there. I would start, to help you explain things better. I would probably start with the three main sources, come up with my, keep developing the characters, but make sure you're developing your characters to help represent that part of I don't want to say nature because that's one of your sources, but make sure that you're creating characters that relate to a certain element within your three sources is where I would start. What do you think, Samantha?
Um, I've you kind of lost me a couple of times, but I get the general gist of it. And yeah, I agree. Definitely look at like other shows or animes that have like a large cast and try to figure out like how to make them like be unique, but also be like type of a parallel to each other. Like, can you imagine you have a good Superman on one side and evil Superman on the other, but no one can figure out that they're actually Superman because they act and their power skills are just completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it's going to work with him and his brother because while he has to learn to control the dark side, his brother has only been using the dark side. So the other elements that he's going to have the ability to use or utilize later on in the series, once he changes sides, he's going to be out of sorts and he's going to go through almost the opposite struggle, but it's coming from the same place.
And that's good. That's a great way to show it in a story. Like
Mm-hmm.
like what happened to between these two siblings to make them like drift apart? Did they just hate
Well,
each other since birth, or did something happen?
the
Like there's
younger
so many ways to
brother
tell that.
was killed. So both of them died and went to this world, and they were transferred to this world. They weren't reincarnated necessarily, but they were transferred to this world as a safety mechanism that built in by their parents. And but his brother died to gang violence that he was involved in. So basically, the older brother ended up getting involved with a gang. The younger brother idolized him, ended up getting involved in that, and one, once he went to get jumped in, he it went too far unintentionally, and he ended up dying. And so the younger brother has been in this world longer, in this other world longer than the brother had. 6 years go by. He's in community college. He's 19, and he finally got his life on track because of trauma of losing his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of book one, he's realizing, what does my brother have to do with all this? He should be dead.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think again, I think start with developing a character for each aspect. And then with the goal of each character, because if each character represents a particular aspect, then their voice will help you explain that particular magical system.
That makes sense.
You know what I
There's a
mean?
couple that are like, because the ones that have to teach him about it kind of let you know how it works because they're teaching him how it works.
Right.
Uh, so like one of the main female love interests, the other female love interest, she's a different type of elf, so she's got Sylvan essence. The dwarf is going to be the best friend character, so they're always goofing off in the forge, and the main character was an engineering major,
Mm-hmm.
so he always loved that sort of thing. So they're always teaching each other about different stuff and having a good time. And eventually he gets a pet because I needed to add the cute but dangerous animal. But I still don't know if I wrote the character the way I wanted, but it's going to be kind of hard to do because it's a wolf dragon hybrid that's really cute and tiny at first.
Right.
But when it gets mad, it gets all large. It grows the wings, the scales, and it has all these cute mannerisms.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that's where you should start, and then that way the characters can do the explaining for you, and then you'll be able to hear if it makes sense, like
Yeah.
so that again, that's where I would start. All right, so I know this is Webb's comic, right?
Yes.
Um,
What does your voice sound like when I turn it super deep on the pitch?
me?
Oh. Oh. I was wondering what the baby's voice sounded like when I turn it super deep on the soundboard.
Now that could be terrifying. Baby, deep voice.
Okay, never mind. I was on their character design, and I was like, how do you guys know if he can do comic book panels? But or they could do. Sounded like somebody burped. Um, yeah, all right, yeah. I don't know if this works for like his comic book will definitely stand out.
Yeah.
This is a very unique,
That painted style.
painterly type of style.
Yeah, it's so he's mainly a painter, and that's what's in his thing. And I think that might work for him to have something to help it stand out, because right now it's just another, not crapping on it at all, but right now it's just another diverse superhero story that might look like it's trying to panhandle to the diverse consumer.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta agree because when I was reading the script that he put in the classroom, I did like it. Don't misunderstand. I did like it. I like the different powers and how he also like explained things, but at the same time, it also felt very safe. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd seen these type of dynamics before, but I want to know about the bad guys. I want to like that was like to me the most interesting part of that whole story. Like, okay, they made a portal. Why? Are they sending something to? Are they trying to pull something out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Also, why did the main cast go like, oh, we're gonna work together. We're gonna be a team. We've got a base. Everything's gonna be great. And then they spend like, I think it was like either a year or like a really long time without anything happening, which is, definitely different from most superhero stories. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
okay, they have a chance to bond in a more relaxing pace, but at the same time, it's supposed to be a superhero story. So what are they doing exactly? How are they different from, just your average vigilante besides the whole power thing? And
Yeah.
I noticed he said that everyone's powers on the team are adaptable, which is good, but it's like doesn't feel like there's any weaknesses.
So I haven't read the script, but I've talking to Webs. Um, in terms of powers, and I remember the two characters. I can't remember their names, but I remember us talking about their power sets. And I remember telling him, I was like, oh, so he's like this. And he's like, oh, no, but he's also like this guy. And I'm like, that makes him OP. So, like, one of the characters, I was like, oh, he sounds like Mondo from Generation X. And, nobody knows who Mondo from Generation X. Mondo, his ability was that he could touch something, his properties, and then he can kind of like become that property. So, like, if he was to touch my desk, his body would also take on the wood properties of the desk, but he could also enter the desk. So
Yeah.
he could. It's not shape shifting. He's just part of the desk, right?
Kind of like reminds me of Kevin Levin
Ooh.
to an
Oh
extent
yeah.
from Ben 10. He was an antagonist at
Oh,
one
why did
point.
I not pick that up? Kevin 11. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that there's an alien that does that, right? So,
Yeah.
so then I was like, oh, he's like Mondo. And he's like, oh no, but he can also. I forgot what it was, but when he said it, I was just like, well, how do you beat somebody like that?
And that can it's the only way to not have to rewrite that is every villain has to be either a direct opposition in their power set. So like for that same character you're speaking about, it would be, let's say it was a villain who had a way to either keep him out of certain objects, or a character who or a villain who could create a specific material to
Mhm.
combat that. Like you have to create ways to combat
You
your
you
heroes
ha-
because otherwise they're not going to go through anything.
your villains, as much as people hate it, but it's proven that if you don't do this, it's very rare that it will work. Your villain not only has to be able to counter your hero, but the villain should always be slightly stronger and their ability
Yeah.
against your hero. Because if your hero is Goku, then, like, yeah, we know Goku's gonna win. But, I feel like for me, that's why I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, because I just think Goku's too overpowered, personally speaking. But that's
Okay,
also
as
why
a
I'm not a big fan of Superman either. Like, the most interesting Superman, and I think a lot of us who are not Superman fans, I think the most interesting Superman for all of us is Injustice Superman.
Yeah.
well, there was one that was Russian.
Oh yeah. There's
Yes,
also
they made a movie about it.
there's also the Superman that like, but see how they created weaknesses for him, the different types of kryptonite, and like they had to
How
because
different suns can affect them too. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was actually one of the reasons why he's so OP, because the sun on his world, oh, Kryptonians were either, literally just like humans. Then he
Right.
comes to Earth and it's like all of a sudden, yay. But then you watch the Adventures of Superman and he, and it's like, oh, goody. They they're like the Saiyans.
Right.
Hmm.
Like I loved when, he had to fight the, I forget what they were called, but
Oh, Doomsday.
no, not Doomsday.
Oh,
Before
Death
that,
of Superman.
what's his name from the movie? And Superman had to kill him.
Doomsday. Doomsday and Darkseid.
No, I'm talking about the first one from Man of Steel.
Zod?
Zod.
Zod, there you go. Zod and the other two, I do like them whenever they appear, because again, it forces Superman to have to fight. Like, Superman villains are, I won't say they're as great as Batman's or Spider-Man's, but they are they're interesting because each one does have some kind of ability that helps them against Superman. Like, I think my favorite Superman villain that they don't use a lot is Parasite, because he actually absorbs Superman's abilities.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, I don't understand why he's not a bit. I get that he at the time was dumb, but I'm like, oh, that's an interesting character. How does somebody who is OP like Superman, how is he going to beat somebody like that? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I do think when we go to help edit the story, that we do need to let them know, like, you either you develop more weaknesses for your heroes, or you need to double up on your villains.
Yeah. Or just do the Superman method. I didn't even think about it. Create things that might make them lose their abilities for whatever reason.
Right.
Whether that be mental stress, you have to create some limitations.
There's got to
because
be, because nobody, and again, this goes back to, this is why a lot of people don't like reading Superman. Like, nobody wants to read somebody who, like, we already know that the superhero is going to win.
Yeah.
But kind of like what I tell people with wrestling, because people always are getting on me and my friends about us liking wrestling. They're like, "Oh, it's not a real sport," and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not a sport. It's theater.
Yeah, it's acting.
And the way I try to explain it, if you go to a Spider-Man movie, y- you go for what? You already know Spider-Man's going to win, correct? And they're like, "Yeah, of course we know Spider-Man's going to win." And even if he doesn't win, he's going to win in the second movie. Eventually, Spider-Man's going to win. And everybody's like, "Yeah." And I'm
But
like,
even then, big picture, he never wins. He never gets to have that life with Mary Jane eventually, but it always goes left.
yeah,
Aunt May, something always happens. He never
that's
gets that
that's
peace.
true, and that's the secret to Spider-Man that people don't understand. But the way I try to explain it with wrestling, yeah, I mean, I may know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm watching for the story that
Hmm.
they're telling. And um that's what that's what Webb's well, that's what our job is with Webb's, is we have to be the ones to let them know, like, your story's good, like Samantha said, but if we don't make these changes, then people are just going to say, "Oh, this is cookie cutter, Powerpuff Girl
Hmm.
levels." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Powerpuff Girls is a bad example because that was an awesome cartoon, in my opinion.
Yes, but they also didn't struggle very much, which is why it didn't do very
Right.
well.
You watch Powerpuff Girls for that reason, to see them just beat somebody up, because
True. I mean, their main op was a little girl who was smart and figured out how to match their prowess.
Oh, I know that character. I forget her
Princess.
name, but yeah, she was obsessed and made her suit all golden. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, Princess.
And they
Yeah,
had several.
she would. I will agree with you.
And then, of course, you had the Rowdy Rough Boys, which was just girls
Which
versus
were
boys.
their counterparts.
Yeah, like Mojo Jojo, not really a threat. Pull
No.
up, punch him in the brain, you're done. Who else? The Nightmare one was cool.
Fuzzy Lumpkins wasn't. Fuzzy Lumpkins was their first villain before they got their series, and he was a little more threatening in that episode than what he was in the series.
Yeah.
Like they dumbed them down for the series. I can't. Her.
Him.
Oh, him.
They called him, even though now us older people, we know exactly what him is or was supposed to be.
Yeah.
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 Him wasn't all that.
That wasn't much of a threat. That was more of
either. Yeah, so yeah, I would agree with you. Princess. I think her name was Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was definitely, yeah, I would say she was the op. Because I can't think of anybody else that made me go outside of the boys. Yeah, everybody else was like pretty easy.
Yeah, and then with Princess, she's basically a little girl as Lex Luthor, and the Powerpuff Girls are Superman. Like that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm almost positive that's why they created her. Yeah, Powerpuff Girls was so good. Don't care what anybody says.
Oh no, I don't care, man. That was peak writing.
I will watch the original. Actually, I've watched a couple of episodes of the new one, and the new one actually had me. I probably watched a good 2 hours of it, and I enjoyed it, but not too. And maybe it's just bias, but it has its own charm. I'll put it that way to it.
Yeah.
From the original, I still prefer the original, but the new one's not. It's not bad, and I don't mean that like as in, oh, it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy it. I will watch the new one.
I'll watch the new one of that before I'll watch the Teen Titans Go BS, which I still happen to catch because of my children. But like, if I had to choose, I'm watching.
You know what? I was that way too. I was like, I'm not watching Teen Titans Go. Just bring back the Teen Titans. But there was an episode that just, no, it wasn't even an episode. There was a YouTube short that came on, and I watched it, and it made me laugh. So I went to go find the whole episode, and then obviously when I found the whole episode, that's how they trapped me.
I'm gonna see if I know which episode it was just by playing a song and seeing if I know which one it was.
Connected.
You
And
should
well,
be able
since we're talking about Teen Titans Go, I have the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go movie. It was not till I watched it that I realized, oh, they're the same voice actors.
Only some of them.
Only
Tara
some?
Strong is not this. She plays somebody else in Teen Titans Go, but she's still in it. because she was the original voice of Raven.
And Tara's in everything.
You can't hear this, can you?
I can hear it.
We ain't gotta keep this on the low. Don't do it fast, we
No.
can make it slow. Show you things that you ain't seen before.
But
Before
hearing
you
this,
go, you ought to
they
know.
they probably would have gotten me to go watch it.
This was
But
the song
no, that wasn't
Beast
it.
Boys sung to Raven. You won't catch me. I won't be catching villains, but you got me catching feelings because of him and Tara.
No, it wasn't that one. I can't remember what it was. It definitely wasn't that though. I can't remember what the short was that led me to the episode. I want to say it had something to do with money.
Oh, Mummy Money, Pyramid Scheme.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. So that because I was like when I saw the short, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it made me. It was so good that it made me go watch the episode. And then the episodes are what, like 15 minutes.
Yeah, give or take.
So so it made me watch the next one. And next one, I found myself watching Teen Titans Go, and then I found myself loving Teen Titans Go, and I was like, damn it, because I was definitely trying to be. I'm not watching Teen Titans Go. Just bring back Teen Titans.
I don't dislike Teen Titans Go for the silliness or anything. I enjoy it for what it's meant to be. But
yeah, and that's what I had to get to.
The Teen Titans as a whole was this group of trauma bonded kids who had some really messed up stuff happen to them in their lifetime.
Are you talking about the comic book version, or are you talking about the anime version?
Both. And there was things that they hinted at but didn't say in the cartoon / anime version that we got as kids, because they're like, for instance, Tara, she spent years when they thought that she left. Those times that she left, she spent years getting R-worded by Slade and like fully not just brainwashed. He was a pimp, literally.
Right.
But then you also you learn about Slade and who his comic book counterpart is, and you're like, that's kind of out of character for him when you think about it.
It is.
He's usually like Deathstroke is an honorable, in
the comic books, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, dang, what?
Yeah, they definitely leveled up the evilness.
And then Red X was always an interesting character
for Robin.
Yeah, because there's hints that it was always meant to be. Red X was meant to be what what's his name, Jason Todd did before he became Red Hood.
In fact, that's who I thought Red X was before they showed us that it was Robin.
Which I would have loved that even more.
Yeah, well, you heard what I said. I was disappointed.
Yeah, they didn't do that very well. But
yeah.
What?
But yeah. So we just need to make sure.
Good job.
Like, I know Samantha left a comment, and I think he responded to it. So Samantha, you can keep suggesting that. At the end of the day, it's his comic book.
True. We can only make suggestions.
We can only make suggestions, and we kind of have to go with what he wants at the end of the day.
So you want me to make a follow-up with him, being like, "Hey, we haven't heard anything from you in a while."
Yeah, just let him know that the three of us all met, and this is what we thought of as a collective.
Yeah.
So that way he can see that we, again, like I think he has to know that we are all working in different ways. Tamara, I don't know if you've been reading Revolutionary, but Samantha.
Give me a second. I'll be back.
I
was just saying, give me a second. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
So, I'm really liking this Lat Pearl character that I made.
I can tell.
I was
Also,
like,
yeah.
so this is what happened. So again, Erica and I, we were in DC visiting the client, and she was like, "So when are you gonna finish the book?" And I was like, and I was like, I'm stuck. And she's like, "Wait, you actually have writer's block?" And I was like, "Yeah, it happens to all of us." And I was like, because I was like, and then she was like, "Well, what's going on?" And I was like, "Well, I'm at the point of the book where I need to get us into Act Three so that I can end the book." But this particular chapter that I'm stuck on has to be kind of like the chapter that helps explain at least 90% of everything that's been happening to Lonnie. And it has to be believable. And I don't know how to do it. So now I'm going to give you some of the background stuff.
Okay,
So,
before you do that though, I have a quick question.
yeah,
Is his name supposed to be that similar to April's?
yes.
Okay. Oh, because it's like you just kind of like put Lonnie and April together to make his name. And I understand why after like you explained like, okay, so this is him. And it's like,
Yeah,
so does that mean Oya's appearance is based more on Lonnie's memories than on her original form?
yes.
Ah, okay. Carry on, sir.
Okay. I'm glad you asked that though, because now I wasn't gonna put that in the book, but since you asked, now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to explain that too. Um,
Yes.
but
Yes.
so Erica's like, well, I need for you to finish it. And I was like, well, I'm not finishing it until I can tie up the time, because I explained it to her. I was like, look, I got to be able to explain the time travel and how Lonnie is going back and why Lonnie is only in spirit form in the present, but it has a physical body in the past. I also have to honor the rules that I set up. Yes, I can change the rules, but I also don't want to cheat myself. So I need to make sure everything makes sense there. And I was like, I got to come up with where did he die? What happened to the body? I was just giving her all the big plot holes. So when I told her that, she's like, I lied to you not, Samantha. She's like, just write the story.
I mean, there's no rule saying you have to answer every question, especially when you already know you're going to write more books. Do you need to answer the
I
more
don't know if
burning
I'm gonna
ones?
write more books for Revolutionary.
Eh? What?
I don't know if I'm gonna write more books for Revolutionary.
There. In that case,
So
then yes, you definitely do need to answer the time traveling why his body is
right.
reverted because
Oh, you got really, really low. But
Dario,
yes,
there's two Tehran's again.
there's two. So yeah, so I was sitting there and I'm like, but she's right. I do have to finish it. I do have to finish
Yes.
the story.
Yes.
And so I sat there after our meeting and while we were waiting for my friend, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going through all my notes. So the week before I wrote that particular chapter, I was I was trying to brainstorm. I'm like, all right, so maybe there's another I'm researching all types of gods that I can bring in from the Yoruba mythology, right?
Hmm.
And the only one that possibly will make sense to help me with the time travel part was this one called Eshu. But then I was having an issue with it just wasn't working, right? So, and which is why I was like, I just need to take a break from the story. But after she told me like you just need to write, and I was like, you know what? She's right. I need to write.
Yes. Like taking breaks is all well and good, but sometimes you just gotta pants it, Terrio.
Yeah. So I went to
Pants it.
Pants it, I went to pants it, and so I'm pantsing, and I think I might have gotten maybe 20% done of the chapter, and I was like, I don't like where this is going. It's for me, it's not vibing with with what I wrote, So I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then I just so happened to be watching Steven Universe.
Oh dear.
And so I'm watching Steven Universe, which is I won't say one of my favorites, but I love the concept of it all, right? And I'm thinking, and I'm like, I don't want to bring in like another character. In other words, I don't want to bring in like another god or anything like that. I want it to stay the three of them. But I need a way to for me, I need a way to explain the time travel, the projection, and all that kind of stuff in a way that still makes sense. And so now I'm experimenting with, all right, maybe April has time travel and Lonnie has the astral projection, or maybe Lonnie has the time travel and April has the astral projection. And then I was just like, so again, I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, ugh, I don't know how to tell the story and move the story forward. And then again, still watching Steven Universe, and there's a scene where they fuse, and I was just like, fusion. And I was like,
Fusion,
that
how?
might, yeah, I was like, that might work. What if what if their psyches combined? And it made me think of Onslaught. So it's like, what if their psyches combined because they're both going through, even though one would probably argue that Lonnie's is a little more deeper than, being rejected by some boy's mom. They're both hurting when they do this spell. What if they combine, which will give them the energy that they're supposed to have so that they can make the spell work, along with the fact that they actually did have all the materials. So then I was like, that will work. And so that's how Lapro came into being. So in my head, yes, Lapro is another character, but Lapro is an extension of, Lonnie and April. And I was like, that works. And then he could have his own power, even though he also has their power. And I was like, that would explain the voice from chapter 6 and all the time travel, all that. And, he's just extra, extra, extra shy. I like Lapro.
Yes, he is a poor bean. He deserves all the head pats.
Yeah, I like
Guys,
how
I
Lonnie.
riot.
I like how Lonnie is just like, it's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. That is part of Lonnie's charm because at the start of the book, and I mean this in a nice way, Lonnie just kind of annoyed me. Like,
Mhm.
okay, yes, I constantly had to remind myself this is a child. This is what, a 12-year-old boy? If I remember ages correctly. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, yes, it makes sense. Like, why is he like it? Like, oh, that's right, because he is a kid. Okay, okay, moving on. And honestly, if I had to give like a complaint, it would be that he seems a little too hyper fixated on boobs. And again, I know he's going through puberty, but it's like if I believe it's Crystal that has the
Yes.
bigger
Yes.
set. It's like, okay, one, why does he keep watching? Two, when he's got all those other things going on, and he has a girlfriend, maybe kind of.
Fuck your boy.
It's like, okay, but isn't Crystal supposed to be like roughly like the same age as him? Like, I
Mhm.
don't remember if you actually said if she was supposed to be like a little bit older or.
So the Blue Order are the same age. She's based off a friend, believe it or not, she's based off a friend that was one of our conversations when we were younger because she was we were both in sixth grade together as well.
Mhm.
Um, her name's Tanya. We're actually still friends to this day. We're friends. Like we follow each other on TikTok. We talk on each to each other every now and then. She actually remembers Jessica too, which is to me bonkers because I'm like, why would anybody remember that? That was like one day in sixth grade. But she remembers that. Tanya was in sixth grade. I lied to you not. Not even a double D. She was like I
My
forgot.
sister was also like really big and like it started in middle school. Like they got huge, and that was her whole thing.
Hmm. So when we got to seventh grade, she even grew like a whole nother cup size. So I remember us in seventh grade talking about it because we were leaving history and there we had another really big boob white girl in our class who was talking to this boy named Ross and she was complaining about hers and Ross was like, well, can I see them? And she was like, yeah, sure, you can see them. And so
Eh?
me and Tanya, Tanya looked at each other and I just was like, I can't believe that. And she's like, I don't know why she would want to show them. These things are so heavy. And that used to be like me and her, that used to be like our joke with each other is just how big her boobs are and how like she can try to hide them all she wanted to. No matter what she did, they moved. And so that was like our little joke. But you know, so that's kind of like what I'm kind of like throwing in there.
Okay. I mean, I didn't think it was like a bad thing. It's just I'm just constantly like having to remind myself, like I said, that okay, this is a kid, but it's like,
It's a 12
boy,
year old
get
boy
your head out of the gutter. Boy, you're going into a
to
life or death
die.
situation. Focus, Lonnie, focus.
Focus, Lonnie. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's like you're
So
gonna get worse than Slat. You're gonna get killed again, and I'm gonna cry.
yeah, so you know, so yeah, I think like coming up with Lapril was really really cool because not only is that like now we really get to see Lonnie, you know, not only is he finally like realizing like, all right, I can't fix stuff, but I can make stuff, you know, I can still live life, right? Like he has accepted circumstances. So I think his interactions with Lapril are genuine, but I also like the fact that, you know, Lapril is the manifestation of the sadness. So he's kind of like still taking care of it. I
Yes.
think,
Oh
yeah,
God, it's Emo Coon that can talk. You made a talking Emo Coon.
right. So yeah, so I just, you know, I can't wait till we get back to 2024 so that April can meet him and have that interaction.
Like he's their son.
Hmm.
Oh, that's gonna be lovely.
It's go like again when Lateral like once I had that, I was like, oh, there's so many ways I can go with this now.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, his power still works, so he can still technically do that with anybody.
Yes. Now the bigger question is, can they figure out a way to get Lonnie's body back to the present where Lonnie can attempt to reclaim his life?
No, I already explained that that creates if he was to bring his physical body back, it will create a time paradox. So I already kind of was like, no, he's stuck in the past because this is how everything, and it goes back, it ties back into the theme of acceptance of circumstances. If he was to go back to bring his physical body, because his physical body physically died in 1776. So if he was to bring it back to the present, even in the zombified form, it creates a paradox because he is supposed to be dead so that he can be summoned to the present by the 100-year rule that has set up. So so no, he is stuck, and that's why it's an isekai story. He is stuck in the past. Now, I won't tell you. I am going to end it on a note which will further solidify why it's still an isekai. I won't share that with you now. I'll let you guys read it when we get to the chapter. But
You do realize I'm gonna start nagging you a lot more now, right?
oh, to finish the
Like
book.
I have been nice. I've been okay. He's mentioned something. I don't need to say it. Oh, look, we got a chapter. Okay, he lives another day. Excellent.
Yes. Now
And with
I'm
the holidays coming up, I don't mind that.
my goal for the week is I finished I that was 35, right? My goal is to have, because the goal was always the at the most it's supposed to be 40 chapters. So my goal is to finish the book by Friday. So, and like I said, now that I got that out the way, and now that I also have, with 35, we have now set up the final confrontations. Uh, it's just a matter of having the fight scenes and then closing out the story. So yes, it should be done. But I'm actually super super excited because I was like, oh man, why did I not think of that before? I'm always trying to use that power, and the one time I should have been using it was the series. Tamara, have you read it? Any
No, I actually haven't had a lot of chances to read
mm,
most of them. I've read bits and pieces here and there of all the different series. The main one that I'm well versed in is obviously Favor of Athena.
right,
Um,
obviously.
but everything else, there's a lot. Like there's just a lot, and so
Yeah.
I keep trying to figure out the different, like I have Speechify and everything like that. Don't do that in here. I have Speechify and everything. I just said do not do
Yeah,
that in here.
So I that's what I was using when everybody was writing their first. I think by the time everybody got to their third or fourth chapter was when I was like, all right, I'm just gonna put them in Speechify so that I can listen to them and take my notes. And it worked. It worked for chapter two when I was doing everybody's chapter twos. When I went to do chapter three and chapter four, for some reason my Speechify started to read the text, but also, I mean, it's supposed to read the text, but it was reading the text, but it was also reading the punctuation. So it would be like if somebody wrote Jack jump over the hill, it it would be like Jack jump over the hill, period. And I'm
Yeah,
like, and it was doing that for the whole chapter, and it takes me out of listening because I'm like, right, So did it start doing that to you?
yeah, it was that, and then it was just like I was also working security for a while, and that's what I would do to pass the time, which is just listen to the book. Now I'm at home more often, so trying to be able to find time to take notes and like listen and do certain things, I just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Like, and I just listen to different stuff when I'm in the car because recently, with things I have going on, music, I just can't listen to music right now. It's bothering me. So I listen to books. Um, and yeah, it's just been trying to
Yeah.
get Speedy Pie to act right, and it
Yeah,
doesn't.
I don't. So they must have done something because I almost deleted my app because I was like, so but yeah, all right. I'm glad. I thought maybe it was just me. So all right. Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you. So, but I'm sorry if we do. But
No, it's fine.
So Samantha and I both agreed that out of all the stories that unless she has changed her mind, so I'll let her speak for herself.
Mm.
But I feel like Revolutionary not just because I am in charge, but I feel like Revolutionary is our strongest story. Samantha, what do you feel like?
Well, first of all, I never said it was the strongest story. I said
Oh.
that it's one of my favorite stories. So you you take that
All right,
however
well,
you
I misspoke.
want. Also, the term strength. I'm afraid I'm gonna be more partial to pack matters for reasons and
Okay.
lots of reasons. But
Yes. No, I would. Yeah, I think that's the order that I said. I think. Well, all right. If we're going by strongest and we're really talking strong, then yeah, I would probably say Pack Matters, and then I would probably say Copycats right after that. Um, if we're talking strength, because
True.
your concepts are definitely more nailed down than my concepts are.
well, I had like a lot of help with that. Let's see, you had how many documents? Not to mention, book one was technically written. It just needed polishing.
Right.
And a certain flower needed to be eradicated, if I remember correctly. As soon as she heard it.
Teron, so Brandon in book one, or was it Sarah? No, it had to be Brandon because that was near the end of the book. Um, all of a sudden there was I don't even remember because
It was an orange lilac.
I just had Samantha kind of like summarize everything to me, and so
Hmm.
she's summarizing everything, and I'm listening to her. I'm like, what the fuck is the flower for?
It was a magical plant that could help healing. But the flaws were is like never heard of an orange lilac. It's possible they exist because I did do research, but I didn't see any that specifically said orange. So I'm like, okay, maybe they just made it up. But it's in an area that you have several werewolf packs in, and you gotta assume that at least one of them must be local, yet the werewolf pack that is being friendly towards the main cast didn't know what she was talking about. So it's like, also it's like you, Robert, still the one character I hate the most out of all the series, though a certain someone from Revolutionary is giving him a run for his money.
Oh wait, who was that? Andy?
Yeah, him.
Okay.
For reasons. I
Yeah,
will not
Andy's Andy's a beast.
I look forward to reading about his death, and if it's not there, I will write a fanfic where he dies horribly. You laugh. I'm not joking.
No, I'm laughing because it makes me feel good because it means that
Good.
I really created a villain that.
Yes. Don't
So
make me do
basically,
it, Carrion.
Tehran, I've created
Super agonizing death,
a
but then he comes back
shoe
for no
tucker.
No, no. Like
reason.
the servant, I can see why, considering it's a servant. But that motherfucker. Well, actually, both of them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Servant needs to
if
die
you remember the
too.
chapter correctly,
Oh,
he
I do.
never told Hercules to do what Hercules was getting ready to do.
They both need to die. Please do that for me, please.
You
Because
know,
I'm sorry, they scum. They scum.
in at least one of my series that I do create, I love the trope of these characters that are seen societally good. Just as an example, Hercules, Zeus, like gods. I
Hmm.
love the trope of taking someone who's supposed to be unquestionably good natured.
Wait. Which version are you basing that off of?
Yeah, I was gonna say Hercules. There's a lot of versions where Hercules is always kind of like,
And Zeus, no, sir. You read the original myths. You stay away from Disney, okay? Disney
I,
lies to you.
I
Stay
know.
away
I'm
from
just saying.
Disney.
I'm not saying again. It's what society sees.
yeah,
Society sees that
I got what
Disney
you mean.
version.
Yeah.
And so I
Because none
like.
of us are safe as Zeus. None of us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to take somebody that society sees as very, very good and showing that that goodness is only a part of them. There is a lot more darkness to that character, and maybe even making them either a villain or an anti-hero or just somebody who's just in opposition to the protagonist because their good-naturedness does not constitute for being all around good.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I like that trope. That's just, you mentioned Hercules, and then you're talking about the different, like the different things that are happening, and then the villains. I was like, I love a villain
Hercules
that you can
released two favorite book of
love
mine.
to hate.
I don't
But
know if
yeah,
love to
so
hate is the term I'd use, but
yeah, because yeah, no, I don't after well, again, I'm not gonna spoil anything,
no
but
spoilers, but when he
I
gets
will
that
venture
chapter,
to
you'll
say that
understand.
I do not want to see Hercules nor Andy ever again. If
Kill them.
so, we'll see what happens to them because we haven't seen them since that chapter.
Uh-huh. We haven't.
So
For better, for worse. I'm not
so
looking forward to it. But at the same
well,
time, it's good they died.
remember, Curtis has Brenda, and remember he works for Curtis. So
Oh my, okay. I will read it. I'm still gonna hope that they die though. I'm also gonna be very curious as to Brenda's abilities. Like, why is she so special? Like,
mhm. Yeah, all right. So I'll be honest with that one. Um,
no, spoiler, spoiler.
no. It's not a spoiler. I'm gonna say that's the part that I need to work on next. Really, like
He doesn't know
it's
why
not a
she's so
part that's
special
gonna
yet.
stop me from finishing the story. I just like I can finish the story. I just got to make sure that her arc makes sense for what I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
especially ability wise. Because we have already established that she's strong enough to the point where Ifrit can't kill her, right? So we have established that she's strong, but she's so meek. It's like, wait, you know. So so yeah, so I that's one of the things that I will be working on. But like I say, it's not going to be one of those things that keeps me from writing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I all around paused on my series because I started on book two and I got to like chapter six and I was like, crap. And then I went back to book one and I was like, oh, I don't need to rewrite like the events that happen. I just need to change the amount of information given in certain areas.
Yeah. So for me, again, I don't have to do a lot of rewriting. Um a lot of it is just going back and adding like a sentence or two to make a particular chapter um make a little more sense with the chapter that I'm writing. Like I'm now at the point where Samantha knows there's a particular chapter that is kind of like just thrown in there. It's not thrown in there. So let me give you the background to Revolutionary Tehran. Revolutionary technically, not even technically, Revolutionary is the Aladdin story, 1992, and it's the X-Men film from 2000. It's both of those. but the X-Men storyline is the 1776 storyline, and the Aladdin storyline is the 2024 storyline, and Lonnie is caught in between the two throughout the book, but he can't focus on either one because he's a 12-year-old boy going through puberty who just found out that his parents have decided that, oh, we're getting divorced, and he feels entitled that they should confer with him before doing anything. And he's actually been affected by this for weeks. So like his grades have been slipping. The only thing that's really going right for him at the beginning of the book is that he made the all-star team. And so he's trying to deal with the divorce, and then he ends up getting isekai to 1776. So so yeah, so those are the two storylines. So I've been writing the story where Wolverine gets knocked out is is the same kind of scenes when Lonnie goes to back to the future. And then when he's done meeting certain goals there, he goes back to the past. But like I said, with chapter 33, 34, I kind of explain why all that is possible. Because you've seen Fate Stay Night, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my magical system is essentially Fate Stay Night meets Pokemon is
Yeah.
my magical system. And so he is. Do you remember Castor?
Yes.
Do you remember like that whole setup with Assassin, her and her master?
Hmm.
That's what I got going on with Lonnie. And Lonnie is Castor, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to tie all that up together. Fun stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
but the character that we both are talking about that we hate, the last time we saw them was chapter 10 or chapter 9, and we haven't seen them since. We have met the teammates, and the teammates are they're bad news, but they're not as bad as Andy and Hercules.
Mm.
We have a crazy girl who does crazy girl things, who has a very interesting sense of humor. I like the
Oh, you're
crazy
talking about
girl.
Crystal?
I'm trying to avoid spoilers. What's wrong with you?
All I said was you're talking about Crystal.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah, I love Crystal too. Um, ooh,
Eh?
Crystal versus Andy.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
she is the one that if you remember correctly, she is the one that basically took Hercules out.
I mean, the possibilities are very intriguing now. Yes. I like where this is going. I mean,
And I did set it up in 34 that that was only possible because they snuck up on Hercules and Andy. So I have Lonnie explain that I don't know how all these fights will turn out when they're one on one.
yeah, well, there are ways. There are ways. I mean, who's to say it has to be one on one? Who's to say it has to start or stay a one on one? I mean, let's be honest here. This is a fight to the death. There are no rules.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There are no rules. So yeah,
I
gotta
like
think.
I haven't set up the final fight scenes. Like again, it's not going to stop me from writing. I think it's going to be one of those things. Like once I get there, I'm going to be like, ooh. But it is a intriguing.
I mean, you
It
could go
will
with
be
Crystal.
intriguing.
You could
Crystal
have.
versus Andy. That sounds.
You could even have Lonnie throw in, considering yes, he does that would be a good way of showing his growth because it's like, okay,
It will be so rematch. I think we talked about that because so Teron, my original intent was I was gonna have Brenda's arc be that she is the one to fight Andy, but I feel like, oh well, but we really haven't seen her grow, so
yeah, that's.
I don't want it to be like oh my God, she came out of nowhere to be Andy. You know what I mean? So
I mean, there's
I
no.
could still do it,
You could always
but
have her like come at the end and be like a sneak attack where it looks like the douchebag is gonna win. All of a sudden, boom, because sneak attack. I mean, why should she play fair when she knows that he wouldn't?
right,
She owes him nothing.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm getting ready to set up the final fight scenes there. But yeah, I didn't think about Crystal versus Andy. That sounds like um Holyfield versus Tyson, Teron.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to because at the end of it's kind of no, I wouldn't even call it a spoiler because it's all leading to that anyway. As I said, with the main character, he's got this darkness that he's able to control after something that he does during the series, but it starts to corrupt him over time because it's at the climax of the book that this event happens to him, and he starts to change just a little bit, like his manner, and he gets a little angry about things that maybe he shouldn't be that angry about.